Okay, so now we've learned how to figure out what key a song is in, and now we're going to put into practice trying to figure out what the chords of the song are as well. So let's say that we've come across a song, and this song is in the key of, say, the key of C. Now, of course, we know that the C major scale is just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, so we know that C is the one chord. We know that our main chords are probably most likely going to be C, D minor, E minor, F, G, and A minor. Because, you know, C, F, and G are always pretty much major chords in the key of C. D, E, and A are pretty much always minor chords. So most likely those are going to be our main chords for this song. So, of course, the first thing we've got to figure out, okay, where is the one chord? You know, we figured out that it's in the key of C, so now we've got to have a point of reference, okay? So the song, let's say it starts on the one chord. But now, all of a sudden, we hear it change, we hear it go to a different progression, we hear it go to a different place, and we've got to figure out what that chord is. Okay, so now we want to ask ourselves a couple of questions. Did we hear it go up, or did we hear it go down? Now what we're paying attention to is the bass note here. That's the best way to really figure out a song, is to pick out the bass line first. So we've got to listen, did the bass go up or did it go down? If it went up, it's most likely going up to the 4 chord. Okay, but maybe it went up to the 3 chord instead. Maybe it went up just to the 2 chord. How far did it go up? Okay, a couple ways we can do that. We can just listen to it. We can play what our guess is with the CD and see if it sounds good, okay? If it matches up, great, we're good to go. But we have to really be careful, because some bass notes, sometimes it can sound like a C to F when it's really a C to D minor. That's why we got to really pay attention to the bass note. We've got to listen. Did the bass note go up a big jump, or did it just kind of go up a small jump? Okay, just because your right hand chord matches it doesn't mean your left hand's going to match it. This will come with practice. Don't worry about it a whole lot for now. Just really pay attention and keep that in mind. Okay, now if it went down, it could have gone to the 5 chord, of course. It was a big jump down, but it could have just gone to maybe, say, the minor 6 chord. Okay, or maybe it just went down to the 7 chord, maybe a 5 over 7, G over B, or maybe it went to a B diminished. Okay, and this is kind of where all these things are coming into play. With you're starting to recognize the chords, you're starting to recognize what kind of chord it is. You're using chord theory and what you've learned so far to figure out, okay, that's the 7. So most likely it's going to be a B minor 7 with a flat 5, or maybe it's going to be a G over B. Okay, maybe it's going to be a B minor 11. Okay, depending on those sounds, you can figure out what the... One way to do it is figure out what the top note is that you're hearing from the melody or from the piano. What's that top note? And then the rest of the note, the rest of the chord will probably follow after that. If the top note is a B or an F with the B, that's a dead giveaway that it's a B minor 7 with a flat 5, a B half diminished chord. I'm probably going to do the standard 7, 3, 6 progression. Okay, so there's a couple of clues there, but if it's, ask yourself, is it going up or is it going down? Specifically the bass note. Is the bass note going up or is it going down? Once you figure out the bass line, really that's what I always recommend, is just start off with figuring out the bass line. Listen to the song, figure out the bass line, and then you can pretty much figure out the rest of the song. Okay? Now, one other thing that we have to remember is, what kind of chord is it? What kind of chord is it? You can figure out the bass note, and then you can figure out the melody note, but then you've got to fill in between there. Okay? So let's move it to the key of F. I know you're familiar with different keys by now. So let's say we're playing and listening to that song, I Give Myself Away, William McDowell. We'll do it in the key of F. And you hear that first, we figured out it's in the key of F by now. We hear that we're on the 1 chord. The top note's an A, so of course it's just going to be a straight F chord. We hear the bass move to E. Now it doesn't have that really deep, dark sound, so we know that it's not going to be like that half diminished 7th. It's probably just has kind of an easy going, kind of light, you know, contemporary sound. That's just going to be a C over E. We're just listening, okay? C over E. Hear it go down again, and then still that A note, and you know, it doesn't sound like some kind of weird out of the scale type chord, so we know it's just probably just going to be your standard. And you'll learn how to recognize those kind of weird out of the scale type chords after a while. You know, they just don't quite sound right. They're kind of off, and you know that they're going to be kind of out there. You're going to have to figure it out a little bit. You'll learn to recognize those. So, you know, A's your melody note, D's in the left hand, so that's just a straight D minor 7. Okay, move down just a little bit again, and then G's on top, so that's just going to be a C chord. Moves down one more time, F's our melody, so just straight B flat. So this song, we're listening to it, and it's just pretty much straight walk down. So pretty easy stuff right there. So, and you'll be amazed how many songs there are like that, where they're just straight, easy chords, just 1, you know, maybe a 5/7, 6, 5, 4, maybe a 3/1, a 2, and then back to your 1, your 5 to your 1. So, most songs are going to be pretty easy like that, and you'll come into places where you have to do some guesswork at first, but eventually you're going to learn to recognize those sounds. It's like the first time that you heard maybe a trumpet blow, the first time you heard a trombone make a sound, the first time you heard a guitar. You know, when you're young, when you're a child, you don't really recognize those sounds, but eventually, as people identify them for you, and as you begin to learn, you learn to recognize, oh, that's a trumpet playing, that's a electric guitar playing. And it's the same thing with the piano. You start to recognize these different sounds where, oh, that's an A minor 7, that was an F to an A minor 7. Oh, that was an F to an A7. You know, because the 3's not always that minor 7. Maybe you hear that little, and you identify the bass note, 1 to 3, but that 3 could be a minor 7, it could be, you know, a dominant 7. There's a couple different things it could be. Same thing with the minor 2. You might have identified that bass note correctly, your ear might be good, but it could be a minor 7, or it could be a, you know, a 9 chord. You know, it's a variety of things that it could be. You never know what you're going to run into. So just remember, bear that out, listen. You know, for the most part, you're going to be able to tell if stuff's in the scale or not, because it's just going to sound normal. But you're going to eventually come to those weird kind of sounds, where it sounds kind of just, I don't know, it's weird, I don't know how to describe it, but kind of like a heavenly sound, just like, kind of like an out there sound. And you're going to be like, oh man, well I could tell it went back to the 1 at the end, but what's all that crazy stuff in between? You know, so that's where your ear's going to have to start picking up these different things, and you're going to have to start just kind of doing some guesswork until you learn to recognize those sounds, you know. Oh, is that a trumpet? No, nope, sorry, let's figure it out. Let's make the trumpet sound on the piano and figure out that's not a trumpet. Same thing with the chords. Let's figure out what those chords are. We got the bass note. Let's figure out what the right hand that goes with it, and the next time when we come to it, we're probably going to have a better chance of recognizing what it is. Okay, hope that makes sense to you. So, that's another one of the keys to mastering transcribing by ear, is learning to figure out, okay, what role is this bass note playing in the scale? We know if it's in the key of F and it goes to the 5, it's most likely going to be a C major chord, maybe a C minor chord, it could be. If it's going to the B flat in the key of F, it's most likely going to be a B flat major chord. So we start recognizing these patterns using our chord theory, and then we use our ear to hear, okay, that does sound right. Oh, no, it didn't sound right. It was a B flat minor 7. It's something a little different. And that's where you kind of some guesswork comes in, and eventually you start recognizing these sounds. Anyway, so have a lot of fun with this song you're going to be learning, and we'll see you back here shortly for lesson 3.